Hello and welcome back once again to my take. I am Saddam Hussain. Well, I repeat once again, we are in the 20th, but still some leaders have the mindset of the colonial era rulers. Well, India was under the British rule for 200 years. The British rulers exploited India by importing cheap raw materials from India. They destroyed all cottage industries in India. Their main interest was to develop UK, to develop England. They used to import cheap raw materials from India. Using these cheap raw materials, they used to make finished goods and again export to India so that they can make their country great again, or their only interest was to develop UK, to develop England. Same thing is happening now with the United States of America. The President of the United States of America, USA, Donald Trump, has only one interest: to make America great again. There is nothing wrong, absolutely, in making America great again. Any country wants to do that. They want to develop India, they want to develop UK. Any country, France, want to develop their own country. There is nothing wrong in it, absolutely nothing wrong. But it doesn't mean you use the colonial mindset, colonial tactics. These days in the 21st century, you cannot subjugate one country. You cannot belittle, you cannot try to exploit other countries by imposing huge taxes on them, by imposing penalties, punitive taxes. Same thing is happening with the United States. Trump has imposed 50% tariffs on Indian goods exported to USA. 25% is a reciprocal tariff, and the remaining 25% is a punitive tariff or penalty on India because India imports oil from Russia. Well, what's wrong in it? If India is importing oil, there are many countries, they import oil. China imports much more than what India does. There are many European countries, they also import oil from Russia. But the President of the USA is targeting India by putting heavy taxes, by putting punitive and penalties on India for importing Russian oil. Well, Putin, the president of Russia, was annoyed with the tactics of the president of the USA, Donald Trump. He said, "You cannot be a colonial ruler in the 21st century. You cannot dictate terms. That will spoil their bilateral relationship." And he said, the president of the USA cannot dictate terms to India and China. Let's see what exactly the president of Russia said at SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Putin raps Don's colonial tactics against India. Don here is Donald Trump. Russian President Vladimir Putin has sharply criticized US President Donald Trump for employing what he described as colonial-era pressure tactics against global powers like India and China. Speaking to the media in Beijing on Wednesday, where he was attending China's Victory Day parade, Putin took aim at Trump's aggressive economic policies, warning that such an approach undermines diplomacy with sovereign nations. Powerful economies like India and China with heavy populations have their domestic political mechanism and laws, Putin said, stressing that these countries are not to be treated as subordinates. the colonial era is over. They have to realize they can't use this term when speaking with their partners, he said. Well, my take here, in the 21st century, all the countries are sovereign. Every country has its own foreign policy. Every country wants to develop. Every country has self-respect. If you are a big country, if you are a powerful country, you cannot subjugate other countries like what they used to do in the 15th century, 16th century. You cannot make one country or a small country as your colony. You cannot dictate terms to them. You cannot put tariffs as you like. You cannot belittle any country. Otherwise, it will going to have bad relationship with many countries. That's exactly what happened in Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, the President of China, and the President of Russia have come very closer. They wanted to have good cooperation for their own economic development. So the moral of the story here, to put the things in simple perspective, if one country is imposing heavy taxes or huge, unnecessary or unnatural or tariffs, we don't have to export goods to those countries. The country can look for better pastures, or the country can look for markets in some other countries. That's all we have time for this. Till we meet next time, it's goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe, share and like our videos. Bye bye guys.